Welcome back, everyone. Today, I'm just going to do a simple one. We'll look through all the NRL team lists that have been affected by Origin, and I'll sort of break down what juniors are coming in or what New South Wales Cup players are coming in, and sort of tell you a little bit about each of them, and sort of what you can expect from the guys that are coming in to fill these Origin Stars roles. For the Knights, it's going to be the first sort of major change where somebody's actually been promoted into the starting 17, and that's Christian Mapapalangi coming in at centre. Now, he's coming in for Bradman Best, who's not out due to Origin, he's just out due to injury, but still a change worth noting. Now, Mapapalangi, he hasn't been at his absolute best in Cup this year. That's what I will say to start off with, but he's got all the potential in the world. I've been a big fan of him coming through the grades, and I hope to see him do well. He's had a lot of injuries, a lot of HIAs, a lot of just shit go wrong in his career to date, and I think he's got all the potential in the world. He just needs to stay on the field. So I'm hoping he can put in a really good performance and try and earn a contract somewhere or earn a spot in this side. It's going to be tough for him to crack that back line with how good those boys have been going. Anari Tuala, Dane Gagai, Bradman Best, Greg Marju. That's a tough back line to crack into at the moment. And then once Kalen Ponga comes back, it makes it even more difficult. So he's going to be one to sort of watch in the future, whether he moves around, whether he stays at the Knights and forces his way into that side. But if he can stay on the field and not have any sort of injury issues, he's definitely one to keep a close eye on. There's not too much change on the Bulldogs side. Obviously, Hutchinson comes back in for Burden. But you know what you're going to get from that. And Blake Wilson comes in for Stephen Crichton. So Blake Wilson actually has been going really good in Cup since being demoted back to there earlier in the year. He had a really impressive performance against the Panthers when the Bulldogs ended up winning 30-10 in that game. Had a couple of line breaks. And he was solid out of yardage without being amazing. But yeah, it's his attacking ability that you really need to watch out for. And I think he'll get plenty of chances up against this Knights side. The Knights have been going well, but I think this is a pretty even matchup, Knights and Bulldogs. I don't know which way I'm leaning in terms of tipping it, but Wilson, Mapapalangi, the two that have been promoted up that you'll watch out for. There's a couple on the extended bench, but I don't see them getting game time. Fletcher Sharp, Thomas Cant, they've been really good in Cup. Fletcher came back from injury and was playing flag. And he was sort of one that was meant to replace Ponga if he wasn't injured. So maybe a late swap there, but I highly doubt it with how good David Armstrong's been going. But yeah, he's one to watch out for in the future, and I've spoken about him a lot. Now, the big one, Panthers, Dragons. And by big one, I don't mean match of the round big one. I mean big one as in the most changes. For the Panthers, we've got two guys making their debut, Trent Tolau and Preston Ricky. Now, Trent Tolau's been one of the best halfbacks in New South Wales Cup at the moment, and I'll just pull his stats up now. I posted about him the other day. And Preston Ricky, he's been coming through the grades for a while. He looks like a really strong front rower. I think he was originally out on an edge, but they've pushed him back into the middle. And he's been really good this year in New South Wales Cup for the Panthers. So yeah, for Trent Tolau's stats, he's had 10 games in New South Wales Cups, 8 try assists, 7 tries, 9 forced dropouts. So he's really been an X factor for the Panthers New South Wales Cup. He's come off the bench a couple times there as well, and I expect him to do some nice things when he does get on. He's usually a halfback, but he's just got that sort of X factor. He's zippy, good kicking game, short kicking game in particular, so watch out for him. Jesse McLean will play his second career game in this one. He's obviously coming in to replace Brian To'o on the wing. He made his debut last year in round 27 against Parramatta. He was all right there, and he's been really good this season in New South Wales Cup. 149 average run meters. He scored 8 tries, 9 line breaks in 10 appearances, so he's one to watch. Him and his brother have been killing it the last couple of weeks on that edge, and Jesse McLean's really taken the next step over the last couple of weeks in particular, I've been really impressed with what he's done. His game up against the Rabbitohs, I believe it was, he had an absolute blinder. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes in his second shot at first grade, a little bit more experience. He's still only 19 years of age, so he's got a lot more developing to do, but it will definitely be interesting to watch. On the extended bench for the Panthers, there are a couple of interesting ones. Now, Isaiah Iongi at 18, I thought he might have been given a shot in this side at fullback. He's been chipping away at New South Wales Cup, been the best fullback in New South Wales Cup by a country mile over the last 18 months. So I think he's got to be one that's close to a debut, even if he comes onto the bench in place of Tyrone Peach, who's currently there. Probably won't happen at this point, considering they've already got Trent Tolau there, but he's one that I'm desperate to see debut in the NRL, because I reckon he would have started in 50% of the NRL clubs in the competition with the form that he's been in, and this year he's also been super good. Luron Pateo, another one, interesting one to note. He played New South Wales under-19s Origin. I gave him a big rap for that performance, where there wasn't really that many people talking about his performance, but he really changed the game for the Blues there. Queensland had all the momentum when he came on, and he came on absolutely just brained it. Really damaging ball runner who makes a lot of post-contact meters. He's just very hard to bring down. He's not overly tall, but he's nuggety frame. Anybody who plays footy knows how annoying guys like that are to tackle. But yeah, he's a big, solid boy, and yeah, he's going to cause lots of damage if he does get a chance this year. I think he might, with injuries and that, he might get a chance off the bench. He's been good in New South Wales Cup. The interesting one that I wanted to note as well, Casey McLean at 22. He's only 18 years of age. He debuted New South Wales Cup a couple of weeks ago. He was playing Howard Matthews this time last year. Oh, well, about 15 months ago now. Which is insane to think about. Like, he's just completely skipped SG ball, didn't play a single game in SG ball, and now he's in the extended squad for the NRL. So he is an absolute superstar, one to watch out for in the centre position, and him and his brother are going to be key, I think, for the Panthers in the next couple of years, with Sania Taruva going, and they'll have a couple other losses, like Taylor May being in and out of the squad, and he's obviously got his issues at the moment that he needs to deal with. So those two boys, stars in the making, and could be really vital to this team going forward. Now, for the Dragons, they've had mass changes as well. Obviously, with Ben Hunt, Jack Bird, Jaden Sewer, Zach Lomax out, and Hamesele is also out with injury. Jack Bird was out with injury as well, the other three Origin commitments. Sione Finau gets his chance on the wing. He played a couple games last year and was quite good, I thought. I personally thought that he would have gotten a couple more chances this year. But yeah, he's been working hard in Cup. He had a really, really good game on the weekend, and I think that's what sort of pushed him ahead of Savelio Tamale for this week, because I think there was talks that Tamale was going to debut this weekend, but they've opted with Finau. And then the Fiane brothers, Max both of them actually had a really good game on the weekend as well, against the Bulldogs. Those three boys that I just mentioned, Max, Matt, and Sione, they all had really good games against the Bulldogs on the weekend. I think that's what's promoted them here. I think Max has been the one playing fullback. I'll have to double check that, or you can do your own research at home, but one of the Fiane brothers has been playing fullback and was really good last week. I'm pretty sure it was Max. But yeah, they've been two guys that have been in the NRL for talks for a while. Jesse Marshke, he's been really good this year. I listed him in one of my top 3 5/8s. He's played 6 games and had something like 6 line breaks and a heap of try assists. So he's been really impressive and consistent in New South Wales Cup. And then the Couchman boys, they get a well-earned call-up. They started in the prop position on the weekend against the Bulldogs. They've been super consistent this year. They've been topping the run meter tallies, topping just all the effort areas that forwards can, that you gauge with forwards. Toby, been in the middle all season. Ryan sort of shifted between edge and middle. But yeah, they've been super this year. Their performances on the weekend were unbelievable. Ryan had 5 offloads, 200 run meters. Toby had 200 run meters and like 100 post contact. So they've earned their call up a little bit, like similar to Trey Mooney earlier in the year, where they were just playing way too good not to get a call up. And that's mostly the talking points out of the Dragons. Alec Tuitavaki named at 20. Don't think he'll get a call up, but he's one that's going to be knocking on the door very soon. I have a quick look at Dolphins Raiders. There wasn't anyone that I really noted in this one, but I'll just have a quick look over it anyway. Look at the extended benches. Oren Keeley been dropped back to the extended bench. I've been impressed with him, but he's at 18 now. Michael Asamoah and Herpa Peru, those are 2 guys. They're named at 21 and 22 for the Raiders. They're 2 guys that I want to see get a call up again soon. I think Michael hasn't played a game yet, and Herpa Peru played a couple games at the end of last year where he was impressive in. Now for the Roosters and Cowboys game. The Roosters one is one of the bigger talking points. Luke Keary. Now, Luke Keary, obviously 19th man for the Blues. If Nico Hines goes down, they're saying that Luke Keary will be the one to replace him. That opens up the door for a Jake Elliott debut, and I would really love to see that, because Jake's been killing it in New South Wales Cup since being called up. He started the year in SG Ball, and ended last year as well playing Jersey Flegg, and was crucial in their Jersey Flegg season, which they finished the runners-up in. Really good footballer, good kicking game, really strong running game too. Like, I think I probably prefer him as a ball-running 5'8", but he has been used at both 5'8" and halfback a little bit this year, and he's also been played at hooker in SG Ball, so he's a little bit versatile. He can sort of slot into any role he needs, and he does have a good enough kicking game to be a 7, and he's a good enough game manager. He's obviously got the footy smarts, being a leader of a couple of teams that he's played on. And the other one, Blake Steep, named at 19 now. I got on the Guru podcast a month ago now, and we were talking about him. Can't rate him highly enough. Absolute workhorse. He's half a chance, I think. This is personal, what I think. I think he's half a chance of coming onto the bench and replacing Michael Jennings, because they've got Sandon Smith at 14 and Michael Jennings at 17. To me, that doesn't make sense for a bench rotation. And I know the Roosters rate Steep very highly, as do I. And it makes sense to me that he comes on. And there is talk that one of these boys on the extended bench is going to come into the side. So I'm hoping it's Steep, and personally, I don't hope Keary comes into the blue side and Nico Hines is out. I don't want that to happen. But if we get to see a Jake Elliott debut, I'd be keen to watch and see how he goes, because he's got a lot of potential. As for the Cowboys now, I thought my boy Tom Duffy would have gotten a shot here, but he's been named at 19. Obviously, with the out of Tom Dearden due to Origin, they've called up Jake Clifford, which makes sense. He was very good 2 weeks ago in Q Cup. And he's been sort of knocking away there, and is obviously NRL tested, so they've gone with Clifford. But yeah, Thomas Duffy, he's going to be one over the next couple of years that you'll hear a lot more about. In terms of debuts that are in the 17 for the Cowboys, Jamal Shibasaki. Now, he played Origin under 19s last year and really killed it. He looks like a damaging edge back rower. He's played Host Plus Cup all this year. and been really impressive. I've only watched one game for them this year, but yeah, he looked good there, and he's featured in a couple of the high performers, some of the best performances across Cup statistically that I've seen. And yeah, he actually did catch my eye on under-19s Origin last year, so he's one that I'm keen to watch and see how he goes. What role he gets, I'm not sure. They do have a 4-forward bench, and Luki Finafuniaki, they're going to play big minutes. But yeah, he might get a shot there at some point, whether they move Luki Finafuniaki or whether they just play him at 13 and just say, do your best, son. A couple of other rookies on the bench. Caden Lars, he's been really good in Cup. He's been one that's been on the radar for a little bit, really big forward, one to watch. Jai Hansen, hooker/half. I think they've lent him more into the hooking role. There was people talking about him coming in instead of Jake Granville, or even pushing him onto the bench to give Jake Granville some space, to give Jake Granville a rest, sorry. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. I haven't seen him play for a while, so he'll be good to watch if he gets a chance, but named at 21 for now. But it does make sense to give Jake Granville some backup. And Jackson Purdue, number 22. Now, he won't play this weekend, obviously, but he's definitely one to watch over the coming years. Plays a bit of fullback, plays in the halves. I think his best position was halfback. He had a really good performance on the weekend. He had 3 line breaks to try. And yeah, he's been really good for the Mackay Cutters in Mal Meninga Cup and Host Plus Cup over the past couple of months. And he had a really impressive trial as well, where he played fullback in that game, which he hasn't played for 10 years prior to that, but had a really good defensive performance, I thought, and he scored a well-deserved try at the end where he ran up 90 metres off a Tristan Saylor kick, obviously intercepting it and going the distance. So he's one on that extended bench to keep an eye on. And that's it for the games this weekend. 5 games, obviously, with the bye and Origin period. Over the next couple of weeks, you'll start to see more and more people debut, which is a really good time for content from my perspective. But yeah, only a handful of actual name debuts. Trent Tolau, Preston Ricky, Jamal Shibasaki, guys to watch. Sione Finau, and Jesse McLean. They're in their sort of second to fourth games. For the Eels Sharks too, that was the first game. There's no debuts in that game, but a couple of the New South Wales Cup boys are going really well at the moment for the Eels. They've won 4 games in a row. Charlie Geimer, Matthew Arthur. I wouldn't be surprised if they debut over the coming weeks, or if they get half a chance, whether off the bench or you'll start to see them involved more and more with that first grade side. They warmed up with them at Suncorp a couple of weeks ago. I think it was up against the Broncos. So yeah, that you'll see more of them, but that's it for this weekend. Hopefully a couple of those boys named in the extended bench for the Roosters come in, because that's mainly where I think there could be some changes. Blake Steep, Jake Elliott on debut watch.